This is my video after the social media fast. Um, yeah. So the first thing, like when I compare face-to-face communication to mediated communication, texting and social media stuff, which I definitely use a lot. Um, I notice that I usually use mediated communication more in like a day-to-day sense unless I'm at work or school where I'm like in a setting where I'm with a ton of people, because like during this experiment or assignment, I guess, I'm dog sitting, so I have pretty much just been all alone for the most part. Not talking to other people face to face, at least. I've been texting and making some phone calls and that kind of thing. Um, but I like a good example, I think, is with my friends. Like I'm texting them 80% of the time, maybe even more than that. Like I'll either plan a workout with them, or I'll even ask them to play some video games with me, or if you want to, go out somewhere to eat, do something. Um, yeah. So I think I prefer texting the most because I get like extra time to think. Um, I can like type something out, delete it, reword it. I do that a lot. I don't respond super fast, but it's not because I'm ignoring someone. I'm more of just making sure it sounds how I want it to sound. Um, and that, from the book, I I like the part about the impression management, where it's controlling how people see you. Um, I think I do that in all like the face to face mediated communication. I do that in all of it, obviously, but I think I almost do it more over text, and in person it's a little bit different. Because you have to respond right away. There's not really as much time to like filter through everything, like what you want to say. So I'd say face to face obviously feels more like real, if that's, yeah, more real. But I think there's a lot more pressure, at least for me. I don't really like talking to people that much unless I know them pretty well. Um, and another thing is I also change how I communicate depending on who I'm talking to. Um, like at work, I think I wrote about this for one of my other assignments. Um, yeah, at work there's like a customer who was really not pretty upset. That's like a understatement. They were really upset about their order because it took a really long time, and then they didn't like the food. Um, yeah, so I could have just sent someone over, like I have two bosses, so I could have sent one of them or asked one of them to go over there, have the conversation for me, because I have other stuff to do, or it's an uncomfortable conversation, right? I don't really like it when people are mad at me too much. Um, but I didn't, and I just talked to them face to face, and I noticed the tone and the body language of the person right away. Like really frustrated, but not in a aggressive way, I guess. Yeah, just frustrated. I mean, if I was in my 80s or 90s, uh, I think I kind of have the right to be a little mad about little things. I don't know. So yeah, whatever. Back to the topic. I stayed calm in that situation. Like talked a little different and just tried to listen as much as I could. You know. Um, and I think honestly that it would have, the way I did it worked better than if I had tried to handle it by getting someone else to do it. Because like I was that person's server it's not really my fault, but like I'm more connected than my boss would be in that situation. So I think it showed me how face to face communication, um, I think it really helps to, or it face to face communication can help build trust in like those kinds of situations. That's what I was trying to say. Even though texting is easier. I mean, texting wouldn't work in that situation, but texting's easier. But you don't always get like the same result as you do in like a good face to face conversation. And for miscommunication, I definitely have quite a few issues with miscommunication over text. Even though I prefer it, I think it's bound to happen. An example of that is when I was texting one of my friends about going to the gym, and he just replied like "okay," which sometimes that happens or whatever. But in my head, it was kind of like all right. They don't really want to go with me. It's just like okay, or they're annoyed with something. All these things go through my head, so it's more to think about like that. But then I met up with him later because he said okay, and just like how he always is, completely normal, everything. And they told me, like, he told me he was just a little bit busy, so it had to be a short text back. And I kind of realized that I kind of made an assumption there that what was it? I wrote it down. It connects to the fundamental attribution error, where it's like you assume someone's behavior is about their personality instead of the situation. I think I said that right. So yeah, the short way to put it, I was really overthinking it, and then after that, or since then, I've tried to not jump to conclusions as fast. I mean, I will admit it still happens, but I'll either ask for some extra clarification or just chill out, wait a little bit before reacting. Um, and then the next one, when I look at my identity on social media, um, it's not like a completely fake thing, right? But I think it's pretty selective. I post some. I have like I have two accounts, so I have one where it's like stuff I've done. Like I have a couple posts on there, like a vacation or I went skydiving, so that's on there with my dad. And then I have another one where I post some like fitness related things. Um, like I have a YouTube account too where I do the same thing. Like I have some workouts or some vlog kind of things or just pictures of progress and that kind of thing. So that it together, it doesn't really matter, I guess, what is on there, but I think the idea is it reflects like what I value, but it's also like a curated um, a thing. It's like if I posted every picture I took on my phone, right? There'd be a lot of random stuff on there, like my dogs. I don't like just whatever. Um, and then in the textbook, there's the presenting self, which is it's the version of you that yourself that you choose to show, and I definitely do that. Again, like back to the social media thing, I'm not posting for the fitness one. I don't post when I feel like I look a certain way, right? Like I want to look the best, so that's what I post when I'm looking the best. Not every single time I work out, take a picture and then post that, because then, one, they'd all be the same or whatever, but then it's like, I don't always think I look a certain way that I want to or whatever. Um, Yeah. So I think like if someone sees my profile, they probably think like, oh, always consistent or always going on vacation or whatever, but it's just like little snippets or whatever that I'm choosing to share, and it's not like a fully not honest, fully true version of me, but it's the version I want people to see because I think it shows like it shows the good side of me. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, and then I have like some notes on here on my computer. Self disclosure. There we go. I think that mine's pretty controlled online. I share stuff, nothing in a risky way or like I'll feel too vulnerable sharing. Like I remember you saying in class, or I think it was you, like would you show it to your grandma? Or, I've heard that before, so I'm like, I follow that. I think I don't post anything that I wouldn't mind anyone seeing, future employer or classmates or any of that stuff. So I think that also helps to shape the first impression that people get of me. They see if they see me on social media and then in person, that they'll see certain things and then not all the stuff behind it. They get a piece, I guess. I feel like I'm not making too much sense, but I'm maybe I'll re-record this. I don't know. And then I think the digital interactions affect how I see myself. If I post something and there's like positive feedback, I'm gonna be it like reinforces what I posted. So if I post something where it's like, for example, I posted a picture of me skydiving, and then people are like, "Whoa, that's cool, that's awesome." Now in my head, I'm thinking like, I really like skydiving. I went, it was fun, but it's not like my identity, I guess. Um, but it's like so it reinforces that identity, and then it's, this is who I am, but at the same time, it kind of creates a pressure to keep that up, even though the skydiving one doesn't make that much sense. The other posts I have would make more sense. That's just the one that came to my mind first. And then face to face relationships that I have, I think, help to create a balance between the two. Because, people I see in person, they see the real version of me. Well, I guess it's still the presenting self, but a more real version of me, not just highlights of my life. And then according to our textbook, our self concept is shaped by um, it's shaped by both how we see ourselves and then how others respond to that. Right, so there's again like a balance, both online and in person interactions end up playing a role in that thing. So yeah, um, overall, I think that using mediated communication, it's easier for me, and I think I I pick it more because it gives me a bit more control over myself, like what I respond to. It's not like an instant face to face. Gotta talk back now, but there's also the downsides of the misunderstandings that come, and then a more limited version of who I am. But then the face to face communications, it's probably, like I said, harder sometimes, at least for me. Um, but it's, I think, in the long run, face to face communications are more important for building like a real strong relationship with someone, you could, yeah,